Hey, this is Colton. My handle's Silicus. I did the SR2 review, and here I'm going to actually review the Raven 3 case from a modern standpoint. I'm going to show you guys the box. It's pretty plain, brown, some styrofoam in it. It's packaged inverted. You got to flip it out, and it'll come out a lot easier that way. It comes with a box of small odds and ends. Got a bag of screws, some ties, a couple of foam standoffs, a nice little Molex splitter for fans. The nice things about this Raven case particularly is that they give you some pretty good fans. These are their penetrator fans. One of the interesting things about them is that the way the spirals go on the actual fan are the opposite of which the blades go, or what it appears. Now, this is from a modding standpoint, so some of this may be really not that terribly relevant for those people who aren't just in there to buy a case. But anywho, so if you look at it from the top, it's got a nice feature, basically locks in the panels. So if you put the panel on and you lock this in, it'll snap the panel on. So you don't even actually have to use screws if you don't really want to. Now, the way it comes off is when you pop it back on there. I'm going to set it down real quick. So whenever you put it on, it's literally line it up. See if we can get on there. Just like that. And it'll lock the panel in. The front panel is pretty your normal standard window. Got a bolt-on plexiglass window. Interesting enough, it's got some breathe holes here. This is actually for your power supply, so a little different there. Inside, it's got pull this thing off. It's literally just a little bit of force. It's kind of cool. It's got a goldish band to it. Some people have complained about that. It's only gold and yellow light, which I've got quite a bit of yellow light going on right here. But as you can see, it's not too bad. You could probably paint it easy. The person I'm doing this case for actually wants it green, so I'm going to probably paint it green. Now, back to the penetrator fans. What's interesting thing about this is that the cable that plugs in is here. You can see it. And it routes through the case all the way up to a function panel at the top here. Now, one of the more interesting things about it is that it's actually, it's hard to see in there, let's see if we can get the light in there, is that these little panels right here, well, the pain part about them is that they're hardwired in. In other words, you can't really pull them out. You actually have to unscrew this or just rip the wires out. There's some screws here on either side of the switch that I'm switching now to make it come out. On the top, it's got a 120 millimeter fan option. Actually, it comes with it. It's nice. Another one in the back. Some of the interesting features more about this case that they don't really highlight on them sometimes is you have these things. These actually go inside here. They're screw on, screw off, so you can so it goes you up and down. You put it in, and right here you can screw them on, and it's nice because then you can get some airflow coming through here. For me, I'm going to probably do a low profile reservoir, maybe a single one right here at the bottom. That way I can mount it to the sides here. And in the front, you can mount more. These are, of course, removable, just like the others from what I see. And you can either use them for 5 1/4. If you have SSD trays, I'm sure that you can fit them in the front here. What I thought was interesting is maybe you could put a radiator here and then have fans blow through it. That way maybe these penetrators down here can blow the air up. Kind of a cool function. Some of the other interesting things is like the front panels look like this. When you put them in, it gives it a really nice look. But one of the more interesting things about these things is that so you have them in, and you know I was talking about putting fans here. That you can take off the front piece, and then you have a mesh grating. You can see it's covered. And you can put that in front of the fans. It still has kind of a cool look, and that way you can just peel them all off if you want, and you can get yourself some extra airflow. It's a pretty cool looking design. Once again, they just pop right on out. They've got pins right there. On the bottom of the case, which I have removed the fans at the bottom. One of the interesting things that I ran into on the bottom is that the fan screws, the fans are actually misaligned, and the screws are actually through the feet at the bottom. So whenever you go to remove these fans, some of them will be underneath the feet. Now, I most likely will remove these fans because I want to put a radiator at the bottom. If you get a couple of washers, you could probably screw the radiator into the bottom since it's fully obviously meshed. Even though there's lots of holes in it, it's still extremely rigid, really solid. That's good. What I gather is you can use this, you plug this into your power supply. You actually mount your power supply like the back end will face and screw in here, so the air will be pushed either out or down, depending on what kind of model you have. I heard that you need to be a little picky with what you choose as far as size of power supplies. So the really, really extra long ones may not actually fit in here very well. The connectors, especially if you have long connectors, may not appreciate the tight space in the back. It's got some for your 5 1/4. You can pop out your CD-ROM drives and whatever other fan controllers. Anything else you have, just slide those in and out. Obviously, it's got nice sleeved cables. All the cables in here are sleeved. Unfortunately, they didn't leave you like 3 inches of bare wire exposed. They're pretty much all sleeved except for the one random fan at the top. Seems kind of odd. One of the other things I noticed is that at the very top, you get an option for USB 3. However, it's kind of interesting because you actually have to plug the USB 3 into your motherboard. So you don't really gain anything from the front panel as far as here goes. So you're going to have to plug it in to your... I guess it's nice because then you don't have to have as many cables running through the front, but still I miss not having something directly to your board. It's actually, from the other thing you notice is that the it's a 9-degree turn, so that your motherboard actually is sitting like this, so your graphics cards are now going to be vertical. So when you put in a motherboard, it's only going to take up this much space depending on if you have it extended or not. It's got a nice hole in the back here, which is kind of cool. That way you can unscrew and unmount your, if you have like a water cooling block or a aftermarket cooler, you can put it right here. It's kind of nice. Tons and tons of cut-throughs and pathways for cables to go. It's pretty convenient. The power cord goes underneath the bottom. And the bottom of this thing right here, you'll see there's a power, right underneath here is a power supply. So you plug this into your power supply, comes out from here, you route your cord underneath into the wall. It's kind of nice. The back of the case, if you're curious, it's pretty awesome. It's got tons of different storage slots. It's kind of hard to tell, but these are all bracketed. Like, for instance, you can put solid states right here, neck to neck with each other. You've got space for original hard drives, extra bays, whatever else you need to have, you can put them here. So even if you chew up your space in the front with either radiators or, you know, if you have a ridiculous amount of CD-ROM, optical drives, Blu-rays, whatever you want, you don't have to have them all. You can have them all consumed and still have plenty of room for spots. Nice thing is that you can also use these for cable management. You can wrap your cables up in here and twist them tie down, or you got zip ties, those are great too. So you can put them all here, cable manage, and there's a ton of space in between here and the back panel. So, which is really awesome because oftentimes I get bowing out if I have so many cables and things like that. So, once again, here's the front of the case. You know, you got your power and reset buttons here and here. It's kind of nice. Got the gold striping all the way on the front. It's very, very hard to see that it's gold in most lighting conditions. It's got the Raven moniker on the front. It's kind of cool. It's got spouts to the front. I think they're pretty much useless unless you don't ever want to have the top end of the case on, which I do. So most of the time whenever I'm going to put radiators and stuff in here for water cooling, most likely going to ignore that these even exist. Maybe bring this fan on top and put a small radiator right here, depending on how many loops we're going to do. It's got a plastic handle on the back. Kind of interesting they decided to do plastic. I'm surprised they didn't do metal. You got your standard manual. It's got some tells you a little bit about what to do with the case, like some of the features in it, how to remove some of your trays and stuff like that. It's pretty convenient as far as figuring things out without even having to look at it. But it's a good idea to look at it if this is one of your first time builds. Anyway, this is Colton and my gamer handle Silicus. This is my review of the Raven 3. Hope you guys appreciate it. Take care.